Hello guys, welcome to Future Traders. Today we are discussing about put call ratio. What are the concepts of put call ratio and how we can put it to use in option writing. So put call ratio's benefit is that it gives us a yardstick, a measurement and an eye to look upon the balance upon the put and the call. It helps us to identify on which side of the market we should be upon. Secondly, it also helps us to make an informed decision. Whenever you are having a trade setup or you're following an indicator, if you combine it with PCR, then your conviction to the trades increases. Thirdly, it also helps you to identify if you're at a fail. It helps you to exit at the right time, at the right place, if the PCR is in conflict to your direct analysis. Now PCR consists of two components, the put open interest and the call open interest, and the balance between both these two defines the extent of the PCR. Now the PCR formula is very much simple, where we take numerator with put open interest cumulative and denominator as call open interest cumulative. Now put open interest increase signifies that the market is getting bullish and thus a trend continuation can happen on the upside. If there is an increase in the call open interest, that means the call writers are getting more aggressive than the put writers, then the bearish character of the market should be intact. If there is an increase in the open interest and simultaneously there is a decrease in the call open interest, that means there is being more put writing and call unwinding, then that means there will be an increase in the PCR. Now increase in the PCR means that the market would be bullish in character and will maintain its upward trend. Now on the flip side, if there is a decrease in the put open interest and if there is an increase in the call open interest, it will lead to a decrease in the PCR. And any decrease in the PCR means that market may reverse on the bearish side or may continue the bearish character. If the PCR increases even though the price pulls back to its level of support, then the future price will maintain its upside move. As you can see on this trend line, whenever the price comes back to the trend line, look upon the support. Even at the support prices, whenever the price came down, the PCR kept on increasing. So PCR increase means that the prices will sustain its upward trajectory and will maintain its hegemony of being bullish. Now secondly, on the flip side, if PCR is decreasing even though the price is moving on the upper side and taking resistance at the trend line or whatever is the case, then that means that the price will maintain its hegemony on the downward side and will be bearish in character. Now if I have to move on the analysis of the PCR, you can see that 34,000 call writing at this particular junction, at the 34,000 put open interest divided by 34,000 call open interest, we see that the PCR kept on decreasing. Now that means taking into account that the market will not jump 34,000 resistance point, and thus a fall was continuing in nature. And that was happening even though you can see here that the price of the Bank Nifty was decreasing, and even though it made a spike on the upper side, even though breaking the trend line on the 5 minutes time frame, even then the PCR made a secular downward move. So this is what happens in the PCR. Even though this increase was taking place on the price front, it was just decreasing, and thus the trend was bearish in nature, and that was continued throughout the day today. Hope you like the video. Thank you so much.